I do not know why. I'm going from green to orange to red. Maybe it's just flickering back and forth. Don't know why, guys. Oh my goodness. It's annoying. So I'm sorry it'll be choppy. I think it'll be choppy for a while. I'm hoping it'll clear itself up. Last time it worked when I closed it down. But now it's not. It's going back and forth for some reason. And I've cleared my cache. No, I didn't clear my cache, but I cleared my background things going on. I cleared out about everything I could. You can see about clearing out a few more. You never know. Let's see. I'm in, which one am I in? I'm all the way over here, so I'm going to close this one too. Let's see if that helps. I'm closing everything on my computer except for my streaming and I'm going to close this one too, I guess. Okay. Close that one too. Now I'm down to one window on my I only have one window open on my browser and OBS, and it's still being a child and misbehaving. So we'll try the task manager one more time, and we'll see if we can even close down other things, because I don't know why it would be so problematic, but it is. Just double checking, guys. Nope, I don't. There's very little running. There's my Opera's running, and for some reason Opera's weird. So Opera tells me there's 22 different windows open. I have one window open. I have singular one. Oh, that's not true. I have two other windows open. All right, let's see if we can stay solid. I'm staying on green for the moment. Good, good, good. Let's hope it stays that way, Flavio. All right, let's get back to this game, guys. I'm so sorry for the delay. So he says E takes D4. E takes D4, and he says knight takes D4. And he says this pawn wasn't really wasn't a problem, obviously, right? It just takes. Okay, knight takes D4, bishop to E7. Now look at this. This should make Magician happy, because look, very, very quiet. No pawns pushed to the second rank for, not pushed 2 squares, not to the 4th rank. So very, very docile. Bishop to C4. Like I said, Magician, I didn't think about it, but Magician should love Nimzowitsch, because this just fits what Magician plays like already. So he might be a kindred spirit. And then we get A6. A6. And that to me is the first prophylactic move. And he says, one of those mysterious moves for which, from its inception, from its beginning, the pseudo-classical school could only find words of derision. So let me translate. He says, from the beginning, that almost real school, that almost classical school would do nothing but complain and say this is a bad move. Now, I've said to you guys, in defense of that classical school, I've said don't move pawns for no reason. Move only your center pawns. But this is for beginners, guys. It's back to lagging. Oh, you're aggravating me. That's aggravating me. All right, if you guys don't mind, it seems funny that I could keep chatting with you guys even though I go off stream. Don't ask me how that works. I'm going to stop streaming again. Oh, let's see, I'm back to solid green again. Back to solid. You know what? It might be weather. It might be people in the neighborhood using the same. My bandwidth might be in trouble. I'm not sure. I'm going to hydrate a little bit, and we're back to solid green, so it's looking good. This might be a bad day for streaming. All right, let's get back to the game. Sorry about that. All right, so he says basically that's a bad move, and I say to my beginners, I say you got to move the center pawns primarily, right? Only the center pawns. We don't move other pawns. Help? Sorry. I'm not solid green right now. We'll see how long it lasts, but yeah, I don't have a lot of faith it's going to stay that way, but we get this move here, right? Let me close off the opening database. So this move is a prophylactic move. Look, he had look at all the pieces white had that could hit that square. And black simply just makes a quiet move, a6, that says, now none of these pieces are going to want to occupy that square. And the question is, was that a good square for white to occupy? And if it was, then let's definitely do that. What? What is this /ban/help and /ban Flavio? What? Ite, what is wrong with you today? What is wrong with you today? What's up? You're like a lion with a thorn in his paw. What are you doing, man? All right, so prophylaxis, our first example of prophylaxis, and let's see what happens. Let's see what else he says. He says, for the closed formation that results from the advances of c7 or c5, I'm sorry, c7 to c5, I would imagine. Yeah, they're saying c7. I don't know why they didn't just say c5. So he says the closed formations that formation that results from the advance c7 to c5 or b5 he says for both of those is only a secondary objective here. The main object is to await white's queen to f3 expected, right? Queen to f3 expected. We're awaiting the queen to f3, he says, in order then to adopt the prophylactic setup, rook to e8 and bishop to f8. Oh my goodness. Okay. The immediate rook to e8 would fail to the reply knight to f3. So, we don't want to do, he says, we don't want to do this because it would fail to that. I don't know what he means fail. But let's see. Knight to f3 with the double threat of e5, sweet, and knight to g5. So knight to g5 would hit here because now the rook is gone, right? No protection. Get knight to g5 is, I think that's an easy one to see. That would be a threat there. What? Okay. And then you have the pawn here, though, I guess is just another threat, right? He takes, you take back, knight has to go away, but other than that, I don't, oh my goodness, yes. So, yes, the threat is now pawn here, take, because either that or you move your knight. Either that or you move your knight. And if you take, then you move your knight, and when your knight moves, we have a discovered attack coming with the knight. Oh, it's just going to be, yeah, this is good. This is good. Yeah, you can't time anyone out, Ite. Ite, you have no mod powers. You have no superpowers. Flavio has superpowers. You don't have any superpowers. I don't understand. Okay, but this is, I'm liking this game already for what I'm seeing. So, Nimzowitsch says he's playing this, waiting till the queen gets here first, blocking the knight from this square so that the knight can't then come here and hit here. So once the queen goes here, then we're free to move our rook here. Very good. No. You can't make yourself a mod either. Oh, you are fun. All right, so he goes on to say, hence the move a6 amounts to a sacrifice of tempo. Tempo is so important. A sacrifice of tempo. Tempo would be a whole nother thing we should do a lesson on because I think beginners don't understand tempo. But this would be a sacrifice of tempo. Let's see, where am I at? Hence, this would be a sacrifice of tempo for the sake of playing the prophylaxis move, rook to e8. This conception had to appear to the strategists of former times from him as an egregious intellectual impertinence, since for the very idea of prophylaxis they had nothing more than a contemptuous shrug. And to prepare for it with a loss of tempo, so preparing for a prophylactic move, not even an attacking move, what appeared to them as bizarre, perverse, etc. All right, And he says, in reality, a6 may be regarded as a very fine move. The pawn on e4 is both statically and dynamically full of vitality, so that restraining operations require circumspection and patience. That is to say, waiting and preventive moves. So, I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. All right. His opponent plays knight to f5. Knight to f5. Right? As we saw, it might have been more interesting to come back here and attack here because, right? Boom, boom, reposition your knight and hitting here. And I would imagine if this is the move we saw, we might see this move in reply. Again, prophylactic, keeping the knight out. I think. But anyway, his opponent plays knight to f5 instead. Okay, right? Hey, so far, and I don't want to jinx it, but we're solid green. We're solid green. Hey, if you mute me, it'll be a boring stream. Not that I'm exciting, but it'll be 100 times worse if no one can hear anyone talking. Hey, really, yeah, doesn't work. That won't work. Hey, Mr. Bandit, how are you? Welcome to the stream. I haven't seen you guys in a while. So I know the schedule said we were going to do hand and brain. I couldn't find in my subs, and I couldn't get my main guy to do hand and brain. So because you muted me. So instead we are doing we're going over some prophylaxis and over protection. Aaron Nimzowitsch is what we're studying. So knight to f5. Possible here was a4. He says a4 is a possible move. Which would have restored the status quo. In reply, I probably would have decided on c6. Interesting. He would have replied with c6, and an example goes where his opponent might have played bishop to a2, and because we were threatening d5, but we won't look at that right now. So anyway, here he plays knight to c5, and his opponent plays knight to g3. So that knight made quite a journey, and I personally don't like it. I don't think it's better than here. I think this would be a much better square, and it is the best square, but I think it would be a better square anyway. So he goes back to knight to g3. Nimzowitsch says that if he had played knight takes here, queen would take, rook to e1, and then b5, not knight on f takes e4. Of course not, right? Even though you have all these, you're going to have them pinned to the queen, and then he could just start piling up on it. So I think that's obvious. Anyway. Okay. So moving on. The text move does a thorough... Oh, by the way, the move he likes after... And this is, I guess this one is worth showing. He says, yeah, that doesn't work because of knight takes e4. Oh, where are we? So if we do knight takes e4, knight takes e4, watch this, knight takes e4, not bishop to here, but he liked bishop this way. Not sure why. Maybe because it allows the queen to still come up, but it also does hit that pawn. All right. So we're back to knight to g3. And we get b5 anyway. And we get bishop to d3. Not this way. Interesting. So he gets bishop to d3, b4. Pawn is just marching on down. Knight to d5, and knight takes d5. E takes d5. And we hear from Nimzowitsch, black has scored a success, certainly, in that the white center, thanks to e takes d5, is now dynamically useless. On the other hand, he is faced with the difficult task of having to take preventive measures on both sides of the board at the same time, for white is planning a2, a3, rolling up the queen side, as well as f4, f5, with gain of territory. Wow. So, he says with a5, both threats could have been prevented. With a5, both threats could have been prevented. Could have been prevented because of the threat. Okay, so we get f5. I'm sorry, it's now it's black's turn. So he says a5 could have stopped both threats because the threat knight takes d3, boom, knight takes d3 as a threat, queen takes d3, bishop to a6. All right, so he could have done that, and then that means his opponent couldn't take the time to do either one of these because he would take. So let's just go over that real quick. That if you were to go here and say black just says, or let's say white wants to do this maneuver, he's saying now you take. You don't want to take with the pawn because then you have double isolated pawns for the endgame. Very bad. Very bad. And when the queen takes, he says you lose the exchange. Sweet? All right, so he's looking all the way over there. But he didn't play that in the game, even though he says that would have stopped both. On the game, he played f5, forestalling the possibility of f5 by white, but at the same time looking to play down the e file with bishop to h4. With bishop to h4, bishop takes g3, and followed by rook to e8, establishing the knight, and then establishing the knight on e4. My goodness. Okay. So he wants to do all of that. He wants to get rid of this knight, so then he can put the knight here, and he's going to do that in part by getting his rook here to back it up, and then the knight goes there. This is wowzers. Okay. So his opponent plays a3, and he gives him an exclam. He plays b takes a. He plays rook takes a. And we get rook to b8. And we get c3. Interesting. We get bishop to h4. Here we go. This is what he wanted. He said bishop to h4, queen to f3. Bishop takes g3, because that doesn't stop him. Bishop takes g, queen takes g3. And then I'm going to guess, oh, we didn't get queen takes, yes we did. Rook to e8, as predicted. Rook to e8. Bishop to c2. Doesn't want to, he's trying to free his queen because his queen had to protect. So now his queen doesn't have to protect. So he gets bishop to c2. He does not immediately take over this with the knight. He plays queen to f6 first. b4, chasing the knight. And the knight goes where Nimzowitsch had told us he was going to put it anyway. Knight to e4. And we do not trade. And this could be maybe because, you know, back then they said totally don't want to trade a bishop for a knight. Because the bishops were better. But also maybe because you're going to get a passed pawn. Protected passed pawn. But he plays queen to d3 instead. Now he's definitely not going to take back with a pawn. All right, black has been able to get along well enough without preventive action on the queen side. As the weakness of the a-pawn, is compensated for by his strength down the e-file. So nobody's taking that, well, he's got pieces on it, but okay. But he cannot do without preventive action any longer, as white is aiming to centralize with bishop to c1, or bishop on c1, sorry, I don't like the way they do their algebraic. Bishop on c1 to e3, and from e3 to d4, and putting that bishop on that beautiful square. Look at that. Would you and I, or any of us, think as white to move your bishop here, and then get it here? I mean, that's a great square. Your pawn is in the way, so he can't attack you. He can't really get to you. That would be a beautiful attack. I mean, would we have thought to get our bishop here? I wouldn't have. I would not. I would not in the least be looking to get my bishop there, guys. I would not. I would not. Okay. Anyway, so he says all of that. When black would have, in fact, have a worse game. How can white's intended buildup be anticipated? How can we deal with this thing in advance? He says queen to f7. Okay, so perhaps if the bishop gets here, we just take the pawn. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Queen to f7, he gives himself an exclamation point. His opponent plays bishop to e3. Look at this. He's like called it. He called it. Knight to f6, exclam. Now he's got two pieces hitting the pawn. Okay. Bishop to b3. That seems logical and like a natural move. Bishop to b7. Now we have three pieces all of a sudden attacking the pawn. You would do it in bullet. Okay. We get rook to d1. And this is very interesting to me. Oh no, bishop to b7. We get rook to d1. And he said, now look, so we have three pieces attacking, and now he has three pieces defending. That would seem logical. But we get from Nimzowitsch, this is not good. I had, of course, expected c4, protecting with the pawn, which actually I think I would have expected too. When I would have restored the earlier position with bishop back to c8, because now the pawn is here. You would have restored back to bishop to c8 and expecting, so let's just look at that real quick. He says on here, he'd go back to bishop to c8. He would expect bishop to d2, because this pawn is hanging. So he would expect bishop to d2. That's the bishop move, uncovered the attack, right? Discovered attacks are beautiful things. Bishop to d2, knight to e4, goes back into knight to e4 again, and then bishop to e1, because he doesn't want to trade that bishop. Queen back to f6. Look at that. So he took things away and put them all back again after he got him to weaken this pawn. And so then he had to protect that pawn, and he couldn't put the bishop. He didn't want to try to do this maneuver anymore. He's going to lose the pawn. Wow. Again, wow. That's pretty deep. All right. So that was all of that anticipation. So where are we at? No, that was a whole different line. Wow. This line should not be there. This line should be the line that got played. I believe so. So we need to promote that variation, because somehow we got the wrong variation. All right, so then we're at a3. Boom, 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 boom. I didn't miss anything good. And okay, now, so he had said rook to d1 is the play, though. So we need the rook to d1. Where is my rook to d1? Oh, maybe that was it still. Okay, rook to d1. Good, good. Okay, we're back on target. So he plays bishop takes d5 because of the rook move. Now, it still looks like, we're going to have to see, because it still looks like 3, and it was 3, so don't we lose material? And my golly gee, how do you not lose material, guys? Because of this alignment, how do you, oh, okay, I got to see it. Bishop takes d5, bishop takes d5, bishop takes d5, bishop takes d5, queen. Oh, what am I thinking? What am I thinking? Why am I thinking? Okay, it's, and he said he should have played, yeah, but he has 1, 2, 3 protecting, and we have 1, 2, 3 attacking. So I'm confused. Because if we take, he should be able to take, we take, he should take, yeah, we take, okay, we lose a piece. Ah, there it is. There it is. I was a little confused because for a second there I thought black was actually going to win the rook. But queen takes d5, queen takes d5, check, knight takes d5, obviously, and we're back to, again, he doesn't want to take and lose the bishop. I mean, I think we, at our level, we'd be like, okay, play on. But his opponent was like, no, I can't lose my bishop. Now, I don't like this so much, but this pawn is hanging too. I mean, he's got this pawn, he just took that pawn. I don't understand. I would have taken. But he says bishop to a7. And he says in his notes, a dangerous move which, however, black had not overlooked when he went in for the exchanges. So I understand that, right? He thinks he's putting pressure here. If you step up, what? What? Then you take here? Because, you're not trading yet, and you're thinking you're winning more material. Again, I'm not that good. I would have just taken here. Okay, so let's get back to business. Bishop to a7, but he says he had already looked. He does have the continuation I said I would have done. So he says on rook takes d5, rook takes e3. And let me get rid of that line. Thank you. Rook takes e3. Rook takes f5. Ha! Hey, exactly what I called. That's what he said would have happened. But then he says rook on b to e8. And he says would be favorable for black. Wowzers. Okay, because if he takes here, we get that one. Okay. All right. I have to believe the Grandmaster, the great Nimzowitsch right there. But that would be one to look at for us to learn why that would be favorable for black. Because, right, I don't necessarily see it. And so that, to me, is worth it to look that up and spend some time with it and see why that would be a better endgame for us as black. Right? That would be immensely useful for us to learn from. So I actually want to make a note right here. Nimzowitsch, I'm going to just say Nimzo. That's what a lot of people, and that's what they call his opening, by the way. Nimzo opening says after in this line. Black ends up favorable. So I want to analyze that later. So I'm going to put a little note there so I can remember to do that. All right, so we were at bishop to a7, and he said he hadn't overlooked this. He kind of had plans. So knight to e3, he does not take. He threatens to take here, and that would be a threat of checkmate. I can see that much, guys. If you traded, right? If you trade, then you're threatening checkmate, and you have the bishop anyway, right? Well, no, the bishop. You have the bishop because you're threatening checkmate because you can't stop both. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do when they come for you? If you move the bishop, we checkmate. All right. So that one seems pretty obvious to me. That one I can even find. I feel good about that I could find it. So he plays knight to e3. Let me get rid of the lines. Knight to e3, and we get rook to d3. And I've got to promote that line because I already looked at the other variation. But rook to d3, knight to g4. Now the king has no escape squares. We are once again threatening checkmate. Beautiful knight work. Rook back to d1. Could have used this one, I guess, but chose not to. Rook to d1. Rook to a8. Let's threaten the bishop. And bishop to d4. Now, it makes you wonder. Right? Why not take? I wonder why not take. But anyway, he plays bishop to d4. But I'm just curious, if he had taken, why not take? What's the harm of that? Bishop can't move now, so you can get moves like this in. And maybe from there you get here and attacking both of those pawns? I don't know. I don't know the reason, guys. I don't know the reason. But bishop to d4. You know what? Nimzowitsch knows my thoughts. He knows my thoughts totally because in his book he says, Vivekan, what is my rating on Lichess? You can look it up. Just go Tiberian and click on it because you know Lichess has ratings for bullet, unless you're asking Ite. Bullet, blitz, and then if you're asking Ite, you have to ask him what his name is. My name is Tiberian on Lichess. Please feel free, check it out. I need to play more. And I am studying. I have started studying for my own improvement so I can get back to playing in tournaments and maybe try for National Master. So I've started studying using Aim Chess, which requires me to play games. So I'm back to playing rated games on Lichess, so my rating is changing. I don't know what 2,000 to 3,000 means. That's too lots of 1,000-point range. I have no clue what that means. Alrighty, so let me get back to here because Nimzowitsch says on rook takes a6, Black would get the advantage with rook to e4. Okay, we're threatening this pawn, I guess. And we're threatening to double up and once again threaten checkmate, which would be nice. But rook to e4, h3, trying to say, go away, go away. Rook to, oh, I'm sorry. It is not. That is not what he says. It says this way for some reason. Let me see. So it says on that, rook to e4, yes. So I got to promote that once. Okay, g3, or he says, or he could have done rook to f1, and on rook to f1, knight to e3, he likes this, and after that, knight going to d5 next, which would hit those two again, which we talked about, so that part is appropriate for what we were thinking. But he says on g3, rook to e2. Threatening here, I guess? I don't know. Again, I would want to think it through. I'd have to think it through, but that's all he tells us. He says that's what would have happened if he had taken the pawn. But he didn't take the pawn. He played bishop to d4. His opponent did. And he played rook to e4. Still likes rook to e4. h3. This is where the h3 comes in, guys. h3. My eyes have jumped too far. Knight to e3. He says, I don't care. Trade off again. Knight to e3. Bishop takes e3 this time. He's tired of it. Now, and he says it's forced because of this move. He didn't like. He says that would have been really bad for white. Or here, either one. He says would have been bad for white. So he felt like white felt like he had to take. I'm going to guess that he takes back. Good. And we get king to f2. And I'm thinking we're going to be doubling up rooks. No, rook to e4 just backs it up. Still protected by the pawn. We get g3. And what happens next, I wonder? King to f7. Okay, and I love the kings on f7 and f2 because it keeps rooks out, so that makes sense to me. Black gives up the a6 pawn. I don't know how he's given it up yet, unless he's thinking his opponent's going to do that. He gives up the a6 pawn so that his king can intervene with decisive effect. So rook on d to a1, king to e6, rook takes a6, rook takes a6, rook takes a6. We got a little tradey right here, everything gone. And then king to d5. Active king going to the center of the board. Rook to a5 check, figuring he's winning a pawn. Black had threatened rook to c4, followed by king to e4, and then king to d3. So it's just dominating. But he still comes in with the king. He says, I don't care. Rook takes f5, and it looks like white should be able to clean up all of this material back here, doesn't it? I mean, it does, but rook to e7. And he says, yeah, well, you have no way to protect this pawn. You can't get back to protect the pawn. You can't protect this pawn. You're going to have a dickens of a time protecting this pawn, maybe. I'm thinking that's what he's thinking. Lincoln, let's see. So he says, king to c4, rook takes f5, rook to e7, of course, with an exclam, protecting his second rank. And white's king is cut off, and black threatens to create two connected passed pawns. White still tried. b5, tried it, said, I'm going to try to survive here. King takes c3, and let's see, king takes c3, b6, c takes b6, and not c6, by the way. He said, don't do c6, because on c6, you'd have rook to a5. Interesting. Rook to b7, and then rook to a7. And then we'd have rook takes b6 and rook takes g7. And when the issue is still very much in doubt because of all these pawns versus these pawns, so he says don't go into all those complications. Instead, you take c takes b6, rook to d5, threatening one of the two pawns. Rook to d7, protecting. Rook to b5. Says, okay, I'll attack that pawn since you protected the other one. And he says, rook to b7. We start getting rook to d5. And he says, okay, this one I'll push. Didn't want to push that one, I guess, because it's too close to the king. That's my guess. So he said, nope, I'm going to push this one. Rook to d5, b5. Rook takes d6. And b4. King to e2. b3. Just keep going, baby. Keep going. Pass pawns want to be pushed. Pass pawns want to be pushed. It's $8 a month. I'll show you a little bit more about it in a second, Booty. Just give me 2 seconds. I will show you more about it so you can decide if you want to try it. You can do it for free, by the way, but I paid for it, and I'll show you why. And I'm testing it, and 3 students are going to be testing it for the months of June and July. And I'm going to see if it will actually show up on their rating that they are playing better by doing what Aim Chess recommends. So I'll give you a little sales pitch. I'm not selling it. It's not. I don't make any money, of course. I'm paying money, but I'll tell you about it. It's a online website, kind of like Lead Chess, but you don't play games there. I'll show you. Let me finish this game, and I will show you about Aim Chess. Because you guys are curious, I'm happy to share with you. So anyway, we had b3, rook to c6 check. Now this is great education for all of us that are like, how do you win the rook and pawn versus rook endgame, right? This is classic, and this is like way back when. So rook to c6 check, king to b2. f5, he says, my turn. I'm going to try to get a pass pawn also. King to b1. This is the way you do it, guys. g4. And he says b2. And now we get g5. He's trying to make a pass pawn. But we get king to a2. And this is critical. And white gave up after a few more moves. Oh, I want to see it. I want to show you guys the finish, right? Because now what? You can't go here to say check. You can't go here because the pawn takes it. You're about to see a queen. You're about to see a queen come to life. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, so we're going to study this game. We got a lot of pieces to that game to study. But first, you guys had questions about Aim Chess. So let me bring up Aim Chess. And let me go full screen. All right, so here is Aim Chess. And so what this does, what Aim Chess has, is if you pay for it, I don't remember what you get if you don't pay for it. You just don't get all of this. But you can load up your games. So it says, what do you play on? And I tell it, I play on chess.com and Lead Chess. It'll go out and grab my games, a lot of games. It'll also allow you to do scouting reports. And I do this when I teach. So like even if I'm teaching, if I'm giving you a lesson, Ite or Bandit or Vivacon, if I'm giving you a lesson, I can do a scouting report on your games. So as an example, let's do a scouting report. I'm going to create a report, and I'm going to do it on Flavio, because Flavio's the man. Flavio, do you play mostly on chess.com or Lead Chess? Which one do you play more on? So I can pick which one. Hopefully you're still there. Flavio? Flavio? Mi amigo? Let's go back here and let's find out. Oh, Lead Chess. Awesome. Man after my own heart. So I'll leave it Lead Chess. Now, I can pick what speed. And you guys have heard me say 100 times, Ultra Bullet, garbage for me, for teaching and for playing. Bullet, garbage for me, for teaching and for... Blitz is actually still too fast for me for teaching. Rapid is perfect. It's fast enough that you guys can play a lot of games. You don't get bored. It doesn't take too long. But it's slow enough that you should be able to think. And then we have Classic. And Classic would be great, but we're going to try Rapid. And it's only going to do the last 40 games. The last 40 games you played. And, oops, my bad. I picked the wrong one. So I did not do your name correctly. Okay, I want to delete that. I don't know if I can. Nope, I guess I can't delete it. So I'll try again. And I'll do it correctly this time. Flavio, your name is just Flavio Salsa, right? In Lead Chess. Let me just go back to Lead Chess. Check out Flavio Salsa. Yes, my bad. Okay, we're going to change that to rapid, and you would think it would, and I'm going to have to talk to them. So they're also asking for me to give them feedback because I use it as a teacher. And so they're like, yeah, give us feedback, let us know what's good and what's bad. And so I need a way to delete this when I type in the wrong stupid username. That's a simple thing. So this is going to take a little while because it's going to analyze your games. And it says you only had 39 games, Flavio, in Rapid. So we'll wait for it. All right, so let's go back to, while it's doing that, I should be able to come back here. So I have warm-up studies over here under this where you can't see so well. It says My Students. Actually, I could just move that over there for you. So My Students, which I do have students, right? If I click on it, I get to see all my students that take my in real life class, and I can see how they're doing. Yeah, I can click on it. So like Chess Wizard, you guys know, I can look at his statistics. And so here's his statistics over time. And this is the last 14 days, and I could say I want the last 30 days. And it will give me, he won 22 games, drew 6, and lost 28. So for him, that's a lot of losses. He's usually playing much better than that, I thought. So don't know why he's losing so many games. But these are all the different categories it uses. I can't see your chat. You have more games? Oh, well, it might have only done 39 so far and was going to do the 40th, and I moved away. We'll take a look. But it tells you, and you notice it has a little yellow exclam here, because that's things that he needs to work on. His tactics have dropped. His advantage capitalization, meaning that if you were winning, if you're ahead of material or position, do you capitalize and win the game? His rating has dropped a little bit too, accordingly. His time management has gotten better. It's gotten much better. His resourcefulness, meaning when he's losing a game, does he find a way to come back, has fallen and not doing too well. And then his endgame is also not doing well. All right, so this is, I as a teacher now take this and I can do a full report and I can take a look at everything that's going on. And in the full report, it actually shows me how he's doing against people rated near him. So we saw that he was declining in a couple of categories, but overall, against his peers, he's pretty close. But of course, we want to be better than our peers and we want to grow. So his biggest area of improvement, it looks like, is advantage capitalization. He's not bringing home the win. When he's ahead, he's not bringing home the win. So we have win rate, openings, talks about his openings, why is he doing on his openings, advantage capitalization results, like I said. So you could go, this is a tool I can use to teach. You can also use this for yourself, and the thing I'm going to try out is this personalized study plan. And in the personalized study plan, this is pretty cool in my opinion. It's on a weekly basis, and again, I'd like them to make it so that I can make it on a 2-week basis or a month basis. I also want to make it so I can change these rules, because this is their program, and as a teacher, I want to be able to say, Flavio, I want you to do, only 5 rapid games, and I want you to do 5 classic games, and I want you to do no blitz games, right? I should be able to customize this for my student based on what we're doing and why we're doing it. But anyway, it wants me to play 10 rapid games, 2 classic games, and 4 blitz games. So I played 4 blitz games, and you don't do it through aim chess. I just go to lead chess. I go to lead chess and I play. I went through my opening improver. I finished all 10 exercises, built from my games. These are my games. It'll show me in the opening where I lost points, I fell behind in the opening because of opening moves I made. And so it will give me problems to solve based on my opening play. It finds blunders I made and gives on blunders, it says I already finished. On blunders, it actually gives you 2 choices, this move or that move, and you just have to pick the correct move. And one of the moves it shows you is usually the move you made. So it's really hard because it's your normal inclination. So I'm hoping it gets me to not follow my normal inclination. Opening is the same way. I go over my opening moves and I find that, man, that's the way I always play the opening. And so guess what? I get into trouble because that's the way I always play the opening. And it's not the best way to play the opening, so I have to get better at it, right? I have to work at it and change it. This is, we're talking restraint and prophylaxis today. Let's get that up there instead. Okay. Okay. Intuition trainer. How am I doing with intuition? Not sure exactly what that is, but I have 10 of the problems. I haven't done any of them. And then tactics, 20 tactics. I've told you guys that tactics is critical. And here we go. I don't think this is from a game I actually played it, but it very well might be from a game I played, guys. And it's asking me for tactics here. My goodness. All right, so we can spend a long time trying to figure this out, and I might want to. If I take, he has to take, you could draw arrows. The board is smaller, though. And then I could come here, but then he gets to push. I would take, he would take, and then I have to move again. He can move again, and he has the opposition. I don't like it that he has the opposition, and he'll have the opposition all the way through. Don't like it that he has the opposition. I could take, he could take, and I can move here. His king can't move up. The best he could do is push a pawn and try to stymie stuff. Now, if he pushes this pawn, I can push, and then his king could get to this square and get to my, okay. But if I take, he takes, I come here, he has to start doing this kind of thing. Again, I think this would be the correct one. If I take, he has to take. And then I'm here, remember. So I take, he has to take. It's my move. I get to go after his pawn. He's here. So he gets to go after, looks like he would get to go after, from here, he would go after that. This pawn can't go straight at it, so he has to go here, then here, then here, take it and move out of the way. I get to go here, take it, and then the pawn screams. So I'm thinking I take, and I'm thinking I go that way. I got it right. So I don't remember if I got this wrong in an actual game, but beautiful, right? So there's my tactic, and it's a puzzle. I know it, and it should be made from my game. All right. Yeah, it does. I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. So I'm going to try to do this each week, but I only have one. I'm supposed to finish this on May 30th, which means tomorrow. So I got to spend a lot of time tonight and tomorrow maybe to get this done, including playing 6 more rapid games and 2 classic games. And for me, because again, time is a factor, time as in I don't have a lot of time in my life. So I'm probably going to play classic the fastest time frame I can and still be classic. If that's 10 and 10, I'll do that. You know, whatever the fastest is. For rapid games, again, I'll go the fastest I can. 5 and 5, 5 and 3, whatever it is, I'll do the fastest. For blitz games, this is funny, I'll do the slowest. Because again, I want to play my best. I want to give myself the chance to play the best. And I don't want to play blitz and just play fast. I want to play well. So I'm going to play the slowest blitz, probably the fastest rapid, which will still be slower than the slowest blitz, and then the fastest classic, so I can get that sweet spot for me where I can get these games in, and I got a lot of games to do. I tried it last week. I didn't get all the games in. 5 minutes for blitz? I don't. Not 5-0. I don't do 5-0 bandit. I like to have an increment, especially if I'm streaming. But even if I'm not streaming, again, the reason I don't like 5-0, the reason I don't like less, the reason I don't like bullet is because most of those games are lost or won on time. Even if you get checkmated, many times you're losing on time because you get low enough on time that you're playing lousy moves. And so if you're playing lousy moves and that's how you lose the game or win the game because of the clock, it's too fast for me. And you might be better, I'm sure you are better at blitz, because I'm lousy at blitz. You're probably better than me at blitz, so yeah, that probably works for you. But yeah, I try not to do that. So I'm trying to do the personalized study plan. There's so much here. I mean, I could do studies, right? Fundamental checkmates. I might check that out later. Training room. Here's all the things based on my games. You remember I showed you the charts for Chess Wizard? Here's all the things that I can work on, including a time trainer. I got to show this to my brother. He has trouble with time. The best chess players know when to calculate it and when to simply play a good enough move. Practice the skill with our time. Oh, I gotta have him try out the time trainer. That's a problem he has. So you could do the training room, but again, I could do my personalized study plan, and I'm going to be trying that. So let's go back to my, the report is ready on Flavio, and I still don't see a way to delete that. It doesn't let me delete it. That's just annoying. All right, so now Flavio. Flavio, here we go. If you're curious, you're a guinea pig for showing people what this can do from a teacher, but you could do this on yourself, right? It definitely provides this if you had your own membership. And I think you could do this for free, but it'll only allow you to use so many games. And you can only do so many scouting reports. So like, I think I have unlimited scouting reports because I do it for every student before I teach them. And I do it even for when I give you guys one-on-one lessons online during the stream, I use this sometimes. It just depends on where you're at. And if you're a stronger player, I'll use this like with Sudokus. I would use this with Sudokus so that he can see what it says. I can even download the report and give it to him. All right, so Flavio, this is all based on your peers. So people rated around your rating. I don't know exactly how it defines peers. I'm sure we could find out if we looked it up. All right, and it is only using 39 rapid games. Don't know why. Instead of 40, I can't tell you why. But it's okay, 39 is good enough. So it says in tactics that you are actually doing better than your peers. Your peers are at 58% accuracy, if you want to call it that. With tactics, you're at 62. In the opening, your peers are a little bit better than you in the opening phase. They come out of the opening better, and they are at 73%, and you're at 69%. So this will tell you that you might want to spend a little time with openings, and you're doing good on tactics. It says on time management that you're doing better than your peers on time management. I'm just going to offer Flavio that in the championship match you did, I thought you played too fast every game. So I don't know if time management accounts that. I don't know. And maybe time management it looks at is only if you're getting into time trouble, because you definitely didn't get into time trouble. I thought you played too fast. But anyway, resourcefulness, you're almost exactly on with your peers. Now, 30% and 31% for resourcefulness, we'd want you to get better at that anyway, and then your rating would probably go up, right? And resourcefulness, again, is where you have a problem, where you have a deficit, where you're down points, or where you're under duress. Can you find a way out of it? And then we have advantage capitalization, and you are doing very good at that. When you get a lead, when you get ahead in material, when you are winning per the computer, it says that you capitalize 95% of the time. You win 95 out of 100 times. You take it home. Your peers are only at 74%. So you're doing better than your peer group at capitalization. And the end game, you are better, and I'm going to just take credit, Flavio, that, it's because we work on end games together. But your end game, you're at 62%, and your peers are only at 48%. So what would you work on in general? Looks like resourcefulness, openings, time management says you're okay, and tactics, you're okay. You're winning in tactics, and actually you're just a little bit behind on openings, and you're actually almost even on resourcefulness. But now, of course, you want to be better than your peers, because then you will be not a peer anymore, because your rating will climb. All right? Try personalized lessons. You can get personalized lessons from them. But you can look at the win rate. It tells you how you're doing. It says with the white pieces, you win 65% of the time. And with black pieces, 53% of the time. But overall, in the last 40 games, you've won 59%. So you're winning more than half of your games. And it says you're probably a bit underrated right now. All right, it says also we look at openings. Remember, I said that's one of the ones that you're just a little bit below your peers. And you have this as black is where you're looks like you're doing worse. Then as white, you're doing pretty good. All right, your popular openings. Now, you may never ever play the England Gambit complex, but if you've played a couple of games against someone like Chess Wizard who plays the England Gambit complex, then it's going to tell you it's a popular opening for you. Because it's the name of the opening, it doesn't care who's actually on the black side or the white side of the opening. So if somebody plays Sicilian against you all the time, you'd see this would also tell you the Sicilian. And then we go on. Let's see. So again, you could get personalized lessons based on the openings that is telling you that you need to work on, or just openings. And then it interprets advantage capitalization. Again, get personalized lessons, Flavio. Resourcefulness, that was one that we said that you could use work on. Get personalized lessons, tactics, and endgame, which you're doing pretty well at. You often lose endgames to your opponents when you should have equal winning chances, though, it says. So at equal winning chances, you're not doing as well. And it even tells you per weekday, if that is interesting to you at all, it tells you what weekdays, when you do better winning and losing. So you could use this for lessons. And so let's say we look at resourcefulness, because that's one that you had trouble with, it said. And learn how to defend in complex positions. Now, this is for you, Flavio. This is totally tailored to you. So you tell me what you want to do. I brought it up so you could see, but this is your lesson. So black to move, looking for a resourceful answer. You're down a queen, so, I mean, I don't know, right? I mean, but this would be maybe where you're looking for, I don't know. I don't even know what it wants. Let's take a look at help. So theme, defensive move, learn with sensei, suggest the piece. Well, we know the piece. It's the king. Or suggest a move. Okay. So this is beautiful when I teach usually that you only have those three. You don't even have this square. So you only have two possible squares to go to. And the question is just which one should you go to? So Flavia, you would pick. I'm going to assume you'd pick here. And I'm wrong. Look at that. It says you're wrong. So you could restart the puzzle, by the way. Oh, okay. I'm falling asleep. I am totally falling. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. Yeah, don't ask me, Flavio. That was a brain dead moment. Senior moment. I'm turning old in a week and a half. So that was a senior moment. Okay, then we would push, right? And it says next. So whatever you did in the game may not have been that. But anyway, let's do the next one. Flavio, we'll give you some time. I tried to answer that one for you. White to move. Black chess, let's see what black did. Okay, he didn't take a piece. Black is trying to trade off your bishop for his, and it's white to move. What do you do? This is like, what do you do with the drunken sailor? What do you do with the drunken sailor? And we're not looking to see if black made a good move or not. We're trying to see what move you should make. And these are based on your games, supposedly. So you may or may not remember these. Okay, so, Booty, you're not Flavio. So, yeah, I agree. Bishop takes. And now what? Flavio, what do you do now? But you're correct, Bandit. You're correct. And this is fully, right, endgame win. Yeah, and that's enough. So, if he comes over here, you have this choice. Boom, and boom, and boom. And the pawn goes down. And if he goes this way, you get to go this way and eat that pawn and then move over. And yeah, very good. So, this is how it works, Flavio. Resourcefulness. You're supposedly down. You have double pawns. And you're down, but you have good chances to win, it's thinking. So, you have to find the moves. So, what do you want to do here? What do you want to do here? Were you saying king to f5? Is that for this game? Or was that last one? No, that was last game. Okay. That was last game. Right? That was last game. I think that's what you're saying. Because you're definitely not giving up your rook. I know you're not giving up your rook. Rook takes a2. King to e4. Then I'm going to assume king to d3. Can I do that one for you? I'm assuming that's what you want next. And I like that, Flavia. Yeah, give me like all the moves, right? Yeah, give me all the moves. King to d3, very good. And that's all I needed. Yeah, I might be able to do that, Ite. I'm doing it for Flavio for multiple reasons, but yeah. So Ite, I gotta tell you, I was pushed into it, and I had to agree. People don't appreciate free stuff. They just don't appreciate it. So I felt like, and I was told, and I agree, that sometimes people don't respect or appreciate free lessons. So as an example, my lessons now, you have to be a subscriber to get a one-on-one lesson starting on June 1st. And but we're still going to do lessons, and it would cost you in essence a whole $5 for the month. $5 so you can have a lesson that's usually cost about $30 or $25. I used to do $25 an hour. I gave lessons. So $25 for an hour, and you get a two-hour lesson for $5. So yeah, that's like 1/10 of, you're getting it for 90% off. So anyway, so yeah, just so you know, in case you were thinking you want to do a lesson too at some point, that'd be nice. All right, so Flavio, I've stalled long enough. What are we doing in this one? White to move. And what I find interesting is these positions not always doesn't seem like you're losing, right? But it's under resourcefulness. We're gonna have to double check. So we have C takes D5, okay. And then the queen goes to the queen didn't when it's your move, but now let's see what. So I don't know, I don't want to assume, but I'm gonna take it you're gonna go here, right? Because he has no checks. He can't go here. He can't go here. He has no checks. So I think that's what it should do. Okay, and that's it. And yes, you're threatening here, and even if he takes here, you don't care. Cool job. Good job. Good job. King to B1. You wrote D, but I know you meant B. Oh man. So you don't have to buy a lesson. I'm not selling lessons, which I could, but I didn't want to. If you wanted a private lesson not on stream, we could talk about it. But you could just get a free lesson on stream by becoming a subscriber. So all you would have to do is subscribe, and then tell me you want a lesson, and then we'll schedule you for a lesson for the month of June. So yeah, you don't have to pay for the lesson. You just have to be a subscriber to get the free lessons. Anyway, so that's how that goes, Flavio, and you would go through them. And that was looking at resourcefulness, which I wasn't overly impressed with the resourcefulness. It didn't always look like you were losing at those positions. But that's the way you do it. And the same thing if you want to work on openings, you'd get a personal lesson for your openings. And as I mentioned, you could also do your personalized study plan and work on those. Yeah, Flavio, you are a subscriber. You get a free lesson. Could have done it tonight because I couldn't do hand and brain. I would have happily given you a lesson tonight. So yeah, if you're good with lessons, let's do lessons. We can do a lesson for you sometime soon, very soon. I'll put you on the list. So first of all, you have to be a subscriber starting in June, but you are. And then I will tell you that I'm going to move it also to where the subscribers will get a little bit of priority. So, and I think I'm just going to do that with the subbing. So right now, as an example, if I go to my list of one-on-one streamers, which you can see on my About page, right? You can see on my About page, who is up for the next lesson. It's LOMP 58. And if he couldn't make it, actually it was Snyder, and Snyder couldn't make it, so then I went to I'm going to go to the first subscriber that's on my list versus the next person. I'm going to go to the first subscriber so I can make sure that they get priority. And then later, right, after June, there won't be any more new requests that aren't subscribers. They'll only be subscribers anyway. Then it'll just go in order. But yeah, so we could do it. Like I said, I wish we could have done it tonight. But we started at 6. I'm going to be ending at 8. So I got about 36 minutes left. So this is great though. I love going over Nimzowicz's games. And you know what would be fun? Let's throw the computer analysis on this. Or let's start with the opening database. I love opening databases. So in the opening database, it says we're in the 114,000 realm. And now this move is not played very often. 42,000 times. No, I'm sorry. F4 was played 45,000 times. And E5 was played 9,769 times. So it's not the most popular move. The most popular move is G6. So the guy that is like the grandmaster that's writing the book and showing us how this works, he played differently than today. We find that most people, so probably theory says today that G6 is better than E5. But it was still played 2,000 plus, 4,000 plus times, or actually more than, what was that, 40,000? No. It says E5 was played 9,769 times. And we played E5, and now though it says knight to F3 was played 39,000 times, which makes no sense since this, you know what it is? You could have transposed into this position. So it's funny. So you could have transposed. So right now this position existed in games like over 40,000 times. His opponent played knight to F3. That was the most popular move at the time. I mean now. And Nimzowitsch played knight to E. He played very, I told you, very like quiet, right? Very magician, our guy magician that plays in our qualifiers. He played like that, and that is way down. Let's see where that move is. Wait, I don't even see it. Oh, there it is. It's the 4th most popular move at 5,000. So the most popular move is knight to C6. Knight to C6, which again most of us probably would do. He'd probably get a pin. He'd probably break the pin, and you'd be playing a very classic style. But Nimzowitsch says, no, I don't mind my bishop being quiet for a long time. So he plays a non-standard move. Now we get in, we're still many games in this situation, over 9,000 games it looks like, and D4 is played nearly 2,000 times. Nearly 2,000 times. E takes D4 in this position. This position existed over 26,000 times. 24,000 times this has been played. Number 1 move. Knight taking is the number 1 move with 13,000. And then guess what the number 1 move is? G6. They love G6. They love G6. How many people played bishop to E7? Second most favorite move. And we get bishop to C4 is the most favorite move. We get a castle, and we get a castle. All right. Pretty much still in high company. High company. Right here, high company. What is normally played by black? Knight to B6. Most played move. C6, next most played move. Knight to C5, next most played move. And finally, down only 355 times out of over 2,000, we get A6. We get the Nimzowitsch waiting move, A6. Opponents normally play A4 or knight to F5. Look at this. Knight to F5 was the second most popular move, which is what happened in his famous game. Or famous, but in his game. So that's normal. B5 is played the most. Knight to B6 is played. Knight to C5, Nimzowicz's game, matching his game, was only played 14 times on Lee Chess. 14 times. Most times it's knight takes, and then I guess queen takes, but the other choices were queen to F3, and we're looking for knight to G3. There it is. One time knight to G3 was ever played, and white won the game. So it's just interesting to me, even the moves that he was telling us, he was showing you like if this happened, that this would be what happened next. That you can go see his analysis, but you also get to see, here it is. Here's exactly what he said could have happened with this. And he says rook to E1. It's the second most popular, but only happened 2 times. And then he said he would play b5, which is exactly what happened in an actual another game that was played. So I find it all fun and interesting and fascinating, a good way to learn looking at the opening database. All right, so I'm going to turn that off. But it would be interesting to see like what the computer says about the moves. Is it a good move? Is it a bad move? How bad is somebody winning or losing throughout? So let's throw on the computer just out of curiosity. I'm going to start the beginning. And it says black is losing already. It thinks white is better off because he's got more space, is the reason I got to assume. Now let me clean off these arrows so they don't confuse people later. White is still a little, and now white has a bigger advantage. White has a nice 0.7 advantage, 0.7, and you guys should be able to see, yeah, you can see the gray bar, right? It's right over here. You guys can see the bar right here on the right. It's on the right. So now black is back to even. And black is even, and now black gets way down. Not way down, 0.5. It went way down, and now it's reassessing. Look, reassessing. And black isn't doing so poorly after all. But he's at 0.5. Still, white was now, and now black is saying black is up a little bit. Black is up a little bit. And then black goes way down with this waiting move. Right? Bad waiting move. The computer does not like waiting moves, I guess. Doesn't like that waiting move. Black is winning again, and now it's back to even. This is fascinating to me how hard it is for stockfish to figure out who's winning. Look at it move as much as it moves to figure out who's winning, and it takes time in this position. This position that seems like it's simple, it's not. Okay, I don't want to practice with the computer. I just want to see what you are rating it. So, yep, black is winning. It says black is winning by 0.6, and it's still deciding 0.6, 0.6, 0.7, 0.7. Let's see how that changes. But now it says that he's still winning, but by less. That wasn't a move that the computer liked. But he now says he's back to 0.7, 0.9. And black is still winning by a little bit. So black still has an edge. Black is definitely have an edge, and black is definitely looking good, and the computer likes black right now. And now white, you can't decide. We're back to even. Is white winning? Is white? He gave white that move. The computer totally does not like. White is now winning per the computer. Per the computer. A3 says it's equal. We take, it says white is back to winning again, 0.3. 0.3, 0.1, can't decide. 0.5, 0.3, white is winning. This is fun. Now black doesn't like this move for white, so black is winning now. And this is like, hey, he doesn't like this move at all. White's winning. It's not clear when a piece of material. Doesn't like that move at all. It says black's winning. And after the trade, says we're equal. Totally equal. Interesting. And now it's giving white the edge. White is winning, guys. White is winning. White is winning this late in the game. And it says white is still winning. So again, there might be a tactic. We might have to check the computer later because I'm curious what it wants white to do to prove it's winning. It's still winning, but not as much. And now it's winning by 0.3. Still winning, 0.1. Can't decide. Can't decide. And jumps back up to 0.5. Back up to 0.5. And it says white is winning. Now, let's see. The move that Nimzowitsch says was an error. Comes up pretty soon. So this says, oh, white's winning by a lot. White's winning almost by a full pawn now. It says white's kicking it. So we'd have to, again, it would be interesting to see what the computer is thinking should happen. Right? All right. After here, though, it gives it a 0.9, 1, 0.8. Nimzowitsch did not have any computers There were no computer. There were no computers. 19 whatever this was. I should see when he first wrote it. I'm curious when he wrote it, when he played. I've seen, like, I have records of his games too, of when his games were. Let's see if we should have a date on this game even. That would be kind of cool. 1910. No computers, guys. 1910. So he did not have a computer to go over and analyze and see if he was winning. And I love it how we feel. I feel sometimes we are slaves to our computer analysis. Really, I feel like sometimes we're a slave to it. Anyway, white is healthy here. Still 0.8. It still thinks white is 0.8. Let's see now. It still says 0.8. And Nimzowitsch, remember, said he should have played c4. And with this move, Nimzowitsch said it was a mistake. And now black's winning. So obviously the computer agrees with Nimzowitsch that that was a mistake. So I got to get my sounds going. Flavio, I got to set up sounds. That was the other thing I wanted to do. And I liked your flags, Flavio. I liked your flags. I got to do that too. Got to give a shout out to our man Flavio. He's actually started streaming. So check him out. Check out his stream. And I'm going to steal stuff from him that he's doing. I like how he has the flags of the people watching. It's like right now we could do that. We could see where all the countries are being represented. And I haven't set it up yet. And I want to. And then the other thing I like was sounds, where you guys can spend bits or even channel points, and you can make sounds like applause. You can make boo. You can make whatever sounds are available. So I want to do that. That's something I want to do. But anyway, yeah, the computer says now that white is losing, not by a ton, but he's losing. Still showing the same losing. And now he says it's equal. Computer says it's now equal. That black, made a mistake maybe. And let's say, he says here, black is winning. Still by a little bit, black is ahead. Now I can't decide. He can't decide. He can't decide. Says with this move, black is looking really good. No, maybe not. Looking good, maybe not. Looking good, maybe not. Hey, Creative Minds. Hello, hello, my friend. We get a threat of mate, and the computer doesn't care. Interesting, interesting, interesting. So, one of the things that we had looked at in this variation, remember, we said that the move, where is it? I want to go all the way back to here. So here, this was the mistake when black got on top. Let's see if we look at the c4 variation that Nimzowitsch said he should have played. At this point, black is losing. Black is losing even worse. Still losing. Knight to e4 is played, and black is still losing. Bishop to e1, queen to f6. And this is the position Nimzowitsch said that he had envisioned if the c4 play, and he was happy with this position. He would be happy with this position. And I'm just showing you because it's saying that black is losing convincingly by over a pawn. By over a pawn, black should be losing. That's the computer. But Nimzowitsch, the genius he was, he thinks he's doing well. So I'm enjoying looking at this with a computer. I usually don't bother with the computer for a multitude of reasons, as I've shared with you guys, multitude of times. All right, cool. All right, let's go. Just out of fun, I'm going to go look at one of my last games. So somebody asked me what my rating was. Creative Minds. Okay, so here's my ratings. You asked, you can't see it. Ha! You can't see my ratings. Tough. No. Bullet, I'm 1824. Blitz, I'm 1876. Rapid, I'm 2140. Classical, I've not played enough games, only 17 games. And Correspondence, I've only played 30 games. There you go. All right. But what I want to do is go look at one of my recent games. And I've only played 1,895 games, guys. And that's my problem, because I am not playing enough games. I want to play more games. I've got to play more games. All right, so in 1 year, let's see, I started here at 2016, but I was not serious. I didn't play a lot on the. I just played a little bit. But anyway, I played some rapid games, 5+5 games, and even in those games, and let's go look at the game against a 21. No, I'm the 21. Sorry. Let's go look at the game against a 2055. So this is a game against a 2055, and I would expect a 2055 to play a certain way. Let's see how he plays. I did not play this per book very well. I did not. I'm just telling you right now. I did not play this per book very well. But I want you to see why I still get not frustrated but confused by ratings. That we're playing against a 2055, throwing a check. Nothing exciting so far. Blocking the rook and trying to activate the knight, but maybe not the best way to do it. Again, I didn't play my best chess. Attacks the rook and my pawn, but at least the knight's holding the pawn. So back up. Still want to double, and so I don't get that move. Right here. Okay, this guy's 2055, guys. 2055. And at this point in the game, I'm trying to remember how much time, it looks like it's 5:20. So we're playing a 5+5. I think we ended with 5:20. Let me push this over to an analysis board. And let's go back to my lecture. And let's add the clock so you guys can see the clock. Here we go. Okay, well, there is no clock to see, right? Sorry. So, but let me turn that off. Let me actually make this larger so you can see, like I can see, the time at the bottom and the top. Okay, there you go. Now we both can see the time. So at the time right now, we're playing a 5-minute plus 5-second game, and at this moment, my opponent has 5 minutes and 20 seconds. 5 minutes and 20 seconds, and he makes this move. I want someone to explain to me how you make this move as a 2055 with 5 minutes on your clock. I don't get it. Now, maybe his little brother, maybe his child, maybe somebody else is playing on his account. But I don't think so, because as soon as I took, he resigned. He resigned. Well, I don't get it. This is what I just get confused. I don't understand how that type of game is played. How that happens in a game. Okay, let's check out this check game. I can show you the clock this way though. Unless I want to show you the analysis, I can show you the clock. All right, so let's watch this game from the beginning, because I don't get it. The clock doesn't move. This is interesting. Okay, let's not show the clock, because that's useless. Instead, we're going to go to the analysis board again, and that way you can see the clock up at the top, because you need to see the clock, right? The clock helps. The clock helps me immensely. So we're playing 5+5. Remember, I told you I play the slowest rap or the fastest rapid. One of the if it's not the fastest rapid that I could do. But my opponent is not taking any time at all, and I'm not taking a lot of time either, because we're in the opening phase, and you figure you're playing comfortable. I didn't know what my opponent was playing though. I did not get this opening, so I was just I think I was streaming at the time, and I said I was just tossing caution to the wind. I was just going to have fun. Okay, so still, my opponent has 4:59. He is moving at a clip of 5 seconds or faster every move. I spent some time. Where did I spend my time is always curious to me. So let's see where I spent my time. I spent time right there, deciding to do this crazy move. Right? That one I took a lot of time. And didn't need to take a lot of time there. And that one took me a lot of time. So trying to decide how I want to go forward, and that took a lot of time. So I went with that move. At least that's where I'm spending. I just like to see where I spend my time. So idea is opening up the rook, and by the way, this person is 1923. 1923. So I'm expecting some good play. So I thought, you know, we're playing like, we're talking about doing prophylaxis and stuff like that. I'm going to chase the knight. And from here, I figured he had no score. Well, he could go there, but he might end up losing the knight, depending. I can't do it right away, but anyway. Now he can't do it anyway. And I didn't, you know, this is his only square. When I take away this one by attacking, this is his only square. So I thought that was nice, right? Get the knight back there, uncomfortable, doing nothing. I did think about pushing the pawn first, but I was actually thinking tricky. I want to get the bishop out first, if I remember why. Because then I thought the queen might go someplace else, I think. I don't remember. But I know I want to chase with the bishop first. And look at me. I positioned it onto c3. That bishop went here, here, to get to here. That's a slow route. Like a lot of times you'll just go here for that same thing. But this got tempo. Notice, attack the queen. So it gave us, we got here in 2 moves. But really it cost us only 1 move because the queen, he couldn't do anything positive. He had to move the queen. Now we're just doing full expansion on the queen side. We're going crazy on the queen side, and we're going to continue and block in. Now, prophylaxis. Prophylaxis. This game, I might be able to throw this game into my prophylaxis study. So here we take away this square, right? Nothing's going to go in that square for a long time. We take away the square from the knight. It already is. Sorry, it already is taken away. But where does this knight go? This knight can come back and then go nowhere. It can come back and go nowhere. This knight could go here, not if we push. So with this move, we don't let the knight come here and reposition. The knight can't come here and reposition. So very prophylactic moves. Very prophylactic moves. I'm going to throw this one in as a prophylactic study after I get done reviewing it. I didn't realize it was that good, but it was a nice prophylactic move. Now, this one I'm not so sure about again, right? I'm just playing. I'm not thinking really hard. I am playing rapid. I'm down to 3 minutes. My opponent's down to 4 minutes. Again, he's used a whole minute less than me. So I plop the knight in. It's not doing anything. This is protected. This is protected. It's not doing anything. But if I were black, you know, you don't want this knight to come here and then, you know, I could see where you'd like, I don't like the knight there. And I know my man Murph would be like, I don't like the knight there, I'm trading him off. But instead we get good, hit the pawn chain, and we're going to come up to, and this was repositioning the knight and the rook, and I was hoping for things like that. And he takes. And now comes a big question. Do you take with this pawn, and this pawn has only 1 protector, no, I'm sorry, we'll have 2 protectors, but he has 1 attacker, and he's going to probably try to trade off this pawn. Or do I take this way, semi-open file, still nothing to do over here, right? Still nothing to do over here. But do I do this way instead and keep this pawn supported by a pawn? That was my big question for myself. As you can see, that's the choice I made. Now, that doesn't free my bishop. So the other one that would be interesting is to do this to free the bishop, but then you got to worry about some of those other things like this pawn move coming in and figuring out how to deal with that right away. Anyway, so I didn't choose it, but it would be again, it would be a nice one to throw into the computer and say, hey computer, what did I do it right or wrong? So here you can take en passant, but why in the world would I take en passant? This would just be bad move, guys. This would be, and I did it, by the way. That's exactly what I did. See, I analyzed the game honestly. So I'm like, why would I do that when it gives all these pieces that square? Right now, that pawn prophylactically keeps everyone out of the square, and that's a backward pawn. That's a backward pawn forever. I think it's a mistake to have done that. Knight can't get here, can't ever get here. Knight can't get here. He did this. And if I just left it here and slowly attacked him, I think I would have killed him. I think I could have done a slow, painful death for my opponent. My knight probably could have come here to just, I could have just put the knight, look, I could have just said, now that knight's going to stay there forever. Even if you take this one, I can take and go back. This is a weak pawn forever. So at the end of the game, it's going to, and then I could put the bishop here. I think I should have done that. I really do. I think if I go to aim chess, it's going to tell me this was a blunder. I think if we analyze the game, it's going to tell me this was a blunder. Now, the reason I did it was because I can win a pawn. I remember this. I can win a pawn. I figured I win the pawn. But long-term advantage, Nimzowitsch would have said this pawn is probably not worth freeing his pieces. Because now look, all of his pieces, his knight has places to go, his rook can trade out. I mean, he's got game now, right? He's got game. Moves his king over, and here I was toying with check, but it didn't do enough. It didn't do enough. He just moves back or moves up, and well, move back might be back, so then the knight might get a discovered attack, but still, it didn't feel like it did enough. So first I said, let me get this knight, and maybe I can get both my knights, right? I mean, yeah, he's got a nice square, but that's all he's got, so let's see. He takes the nice square, and I say, no, we're not trading. We're not giving away free candy, and I'm not going to protect it. I'm going to move away, and look at the prophylaxis, guys. Look at the prophylaxis. That knight has many fewer squares. Many fewer squares. Now, knight protects the bishop, but the knight is blocking the queen from all of this. The knight wants to get here, so I gotta find a move. We go with the check first. Go with the check first. If he takes, of course, we get the exchange. And he does not want to give me a discover check, which is very good because this check, which is win a pawn to start with, and bad things can happen, of course. He moves up, and I get my second knight. And so my threat was I wanted to put the queen here. That was my threat. I don't know what I do after that because I guess I get to win a free pawn again. So he says, well, I'm going to get rid of your knight. I say, okay. I like my knight. He likes his knight. My knight is helping my queen, and I'm okay with trading. But he would have to do the trading because I wasn't. Nice job. Stops me from trading. But again, I wouldn't do it anyway because it would give him the file. So we get the check that we were looking for. And now I get a fork. He could have went here, but he made a mistake. Right? He went here. So he went there. Maybe, I don't know why. And maybe he didn't want me to do things like that. I don't know why. So I get the fork. I win that. Win the exchange. And now I get another check. And I get to chase him around some more. Oh, and I like this. Now, I was down to 49 seconds. My opponent was at 2 minutes. 49 seconds to 2 minutes. So he had a lot more time than I did. And I just said, you know what? I don't like all that's going to happen soon. I thought, you know what? I'm just going to give him back the exchange right away. Just getting back the exchange. And then, again, 1920 player. I have 49 seconds. 51 now. He has 1 minute and 45. That move took him a whole 7 seconds. 7 seconds to give a rook away for free. I'm back to, you're not a beginner. You're a 1923 player. He resigned at this point. I didn't even have to take it. He resigned before I could take it. All right, I'm going to definitely look that game over for restraint. Anyway, I think we're ready to end not early, but early enough. It is early. I don't know why I said not early. It is early. I enjoyed the lesson on starting the discussion on restraint and prophylaxis. We will go into this much deeper. This is interesting. How did I get two of the same game in here somehow? I didn't think I'd put it in there. Okay, where was I? I don't remember. Let me go find somebody to to raid. So, on Tuesday, we will be starting in earnest restraint and prophylaxis, and now we have some games to look at as possibilities to look at. So, Mirror Chess is, teacher, thinker, teacher. And TK is online too. TK is streaming. So, let's see. It's between TK and thinker, teacher. TK is fun. He's new. He's still struggling. I don't think he's made affiliate yet, guys. I do not think he's made affiliate. He's a pretty good player, strong player. You should challenge him a couple of games. Now, thinker, teacher, I feel like I gotta hit up thinker, teacher, only because he does what I do. He gives the lessons. So if you guys just want to play fun games, it would be TK. Okay, Flavio says TK. Flavio wins. Flavio wins. I follow Flavio's examples, but yes, I do like thinker, teacher. In fact, I should give him a quick shout out before we go to TK. Let me give him a quick shout out. I do like him a lot. He is, again, a strong player, and he is all about teaching. He does a lot of teaching online. Lots of teaching online. Hey, how are you? T1002. That sounds almost like, if it was T2, like Terminator 2, that would be so cool. So cool. Yeah, drinking is not anything to be proud of, I guess. I like T2. Yeah, I loved the Terminator series. Those movies were excellent. And again, for the time, the first Terminator, super awesome. And then they stepped up the game, right, with the liquid Terminator. They stepped up the game every time. And I'm gonna have to agree with Arnold. The bad one, amazing. I can't do it like him. I can't say I'll be back. But and I will be back tomorrow with a lesson at 1 o'clock. One-on-one lesson tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Yeah, I agree with Arnold. The only one that wasn't very good in that series was the one he wasn't in. I am going off T2. Sorry, we finished a nice lesson on restraint and prophylaxis. I think it was good. You can catch it on the VODs. It'll be automatically saved and up on the VOD. So feel free to check that out. In fact, let's jump over to TK so we'll be ready. Oh my gosh, he did get affiliate. I was wrong. I thought he didn't have affiliate yet. He has affiliate because we're watching a commercial. And you don't get commercials unless you made it to affiliate. So my man TK has made it. He is an affiliate. All right, let's make sure he's doing chess, though. It says he is. He's doing challenges, too. You guys can challenge him. Playing viewers. I played him a couple of times on the stream just when he was waiting for viewers and not having a lot of them. All right, guys. We'll give him a good raid. We'll see how life is going with TK. I will go with you. I always like to visit when we raid, spend some time, and, see how he's doing. We will see you over there. Adios, hasta luego, mi amigos.